Awaken, you won't catch us sleeping through the fight in life. We're all as open.
Awakened Radio Network is brought to you by our sponsors. Visit and let them know you heard about them here on the Awakened Radio Network. Do you have health and medical problems the regular medical system cannot seem to figure out how to fix? If the answer is yes, then check out RifeEnergyMedicine.com. That is Rife spelled R-I-F-E. RifeEnergyMedicine.com for a new way to approach many of your health problems. RifeEnergyMedicine.com. Are you looking for a fun and easy and productive way to promote and advertise your personally owned business? If so, the Awakened Radio Network just might have the solution for you. Visit awakenradio.net and look up under our products and services tabs, or add Awakened Radio to your Skype contact and send Donna Devane, the station owner, a message. Or you can add DonnaDevane@gmail.com to your email contacts and send Donna an email letting her know that you would like to set a time to go over how to advertise your business in a way that makes getting sales easy without the struggle and a whole lot of fun. Do you have a message, something that just burns within you that you couldn't stop talking about even if someone offered to pay you to? Well, you just might be the type of host that we're looking for here on the Awakened Radio Network. Add Awakened Radio to your Skype contacts or send Donna Devane, the station owner, a message, DonnaDevane@gmail.com. And let's set up a time to talk and see if you and Awakened Radio Network are on the same consciousness wavelength. We might can work together and provide a win-win where your message goes out on our airwaves, reaching our global listeners, bringing fun, self-growth, and a whole lot of excitement to both your life and the Awakened Radio family.
Welcome. You are now tuned in to Your Unfolding Senses on Awakened Radio. I'm your host, Ragozzine. This show is all about opening to and listening to your full intuitive capabilities. I offer tips and techniques such as meditation, dream work, and more for relaxing and connecting to your intuition. I'm on the air Thursday at 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. This show is brought to you by intuitionbyrob.net, helping you to connect to your own inner wisdom. Please enjoy the show and invite your friends. Hello everyone, this is Rob Ragozzine. Thanks for joining me tonight. It's 10 p.m., October 17th, 2013. Welcome to Your Unfolding Senses. And I'm your host, author, and explorer, and you can find more about me at my site, intuitionbyrob.net. Your Unfolding Senses is all about opening to your own inner wisdom. We're all intuitive. And on this show, we talk about the tools and techniques for centering, connecting inward, and learning to truly listen. And we'll talk about some different techniques that we haven't talked about before tonight. Specifically, we'll be talking about how to use water to connect to ourselves. And we're basically water ourselves about 75%. So these techniques can definitely help you to connect inward and connect to your own inner mystery. Feel free to call in and ask questions or comment on the tools that work for you. You might ask about tarot, numerology, dreams, whatever we're discussing or have discussed before. You can join us in the chat room at awakenedradio.net and click on the live chat tab, or add Awakened Radio to Skype or of course dial 334-649-7204. I want to give thanks to the people on, the fine hosts on before me, Susan Kern with Magical Life Playground, Desmond with Reverence for Life, and Donna with Healing Circle. If you haven't listened to those shows, they're really good shows, so please do give them a listen too. Thanks for tuning in to Awakened Radio. It's really about sharing information and empowering you, and that's what I want to do here, to be able to empower you, to be able to use the tools for yourself, especially whatever we're talking about on this particular evening, which is water divination. Now, as you're listening, you can use this opportunity to suspend any doubt or disbelief, at least for the next hour, and we'll connect inward, listen to our hearts, and begin to pay attention to their needs. Gradually, this space can unfold into a bigger and bigger space in your outer life. And with that in mind, I invite you to take part in a brief meditation. So making yourself comfortable, perhaps bringing a question to mind that you've been thinking about for a while, perhaps just simply settling into the meditation and allowing a sign or a symbol to come to you. So finding a quiet space and sitting or lying down and being comfortable and closing your eyes, beginning to breathe slowly and gently and feeling any stress or worries float away, drain away from the day. Continue to breathe gently into yourself and your heart and letting go of any doubts. Let your mind quiet and your body rest. Feel yourself filling with peace and tranquility. Bring your focus to your heart. You might wonder what it's been asking for. Pay attention as it brings memories up or signs and symbols for you. You may wish to bring your hands to your heart and allow your awareness of your heart to deepen as you breathe and relax. Settle into stillness and allow it to envelope you. Feel all of your senses open, grow, and deepen. Know that this is a special place where you can clearly hear your own inner voice, however it speaks to you. Be mindful of how this space feels. Begin to pay attention to any words or images that are coming to you, any symbols. You might ask a question and notice the messages available to you within the space. Your inner ears might hear a word or a phrase. Your inner eyes might see a color, shape, or picture. Your other senses may have other experiences. Pay attention to these. If you don't understand what they mean, ask for deeper clarity and allow whatever comes to you to come. If nothing does, that's okay. Don't force anything to happen. Rest in the stillness and inner peace. This could be the very thing your heart has been asking for yearning for. Notice how your body feels in this time of stillness. Wonder how you might bring this comfort into your outer life. Breathe into the parts of your body that still feel tight or stressed, allowing yourself to feel the comfort of this space. Be grateful for it. Know that you can come here anytime. As we prepare to leave, thanking your body for experiencing this, thanking your intuition for connecting to any signs or messages that you received, and slowly bring your focus back to the room, gently opening your eyes and coming back to your body. Now this week, we're discussing water and its use and learning about ourselves as we divine with it. And I have a quote from C. Joy Bell C., who says, "Anger is like flowing water. There's nothing wrong with it as long as you let it flow. Hate is like stagnant water. Anger that you denied yourself the freedom to feel, the freedom to flow. Water that you gathered in one place and left to forget. Stagnant water becomes dirty, stinky, disease-ridden, poisonous, deadly. That is your hate. On flowing water travels little paper boats of forgiveness. Allow yourself to feel anger. Allow your waters to flow, along with all the paper boats of forgiveness. Be human." So that's ultimately what we're talking about tonight, truly being human and using these tools to connect into something, into our awareness, into our hearts, and finding our own answers. So empowering yourself rather than necessarily relying on a book or someone else for these answers, to decide for yourself that, yes, I can find my answers. You might need, in the beginning at least, to maybe ask for clarity from someone, but with practice you can begin to have more and more skills for reading and divining for yourself. Now, today we're talking about water and divining. What does that mean? Well, there's a couple different techniques that you might try, and one of them is called Scrying, and I'll post a link to my site where I have an article about it. And it's really about seeing the signs and symbols that show up in the water, and you can use any kind of bowl or container that's at least darker. I prefer to use a ceramic bowl that's a little bit darker, and if you don't have that, you can use whatever you do have and maybe some food coloring to color the water, because we don't want to see the bowl, we want to see whatever's reflected in the water. And it's generally best to do this in a darker room. So at night, maybe let the moonlight come in through the windows, and it's really getting familiar and comfortable with being able to see the water and not feel like this is something that's silly or scary. Just allow yourself to be comfortable, not frightened, and allow yourself to see whatever comes up in the water. Maybe nothing will the first few times. That's okay. Maybe you'll start to see pictures. Maybe you'll hear something. It depends typically on what your strongest intuitive aspect of yourself is. So maybe you see things, maybe you hear things, maybe you just sense things, and the scrying can definitely help to bring that out. And we'll do a separate meditation to connect with water in general, the element of water, before we walk through the scrying exercise. You might like to go and get a bowl, or have someone get you a bowl, and you can try this after we do the meditation exercise. All you really need is a dark bowl and some water in it, and of course a darker room. It doesn't have to be completely black, because you have to see the water. So as an experiment, you might ask someone to go get you that, and after we do this meditation, we'll walk through the scrying exercise. So closing your eyes and seeing yourself standing on a beach. The sky is clear, the water is calm, the wind is gentle, and the air is warm. You approach the water feeling called to and welcomed. As you approach, the water appears to rise and move with you, but you feel safe, welcome, and protected. The water rises as a spout and appears to step forward and dance with you. You can walk with the water or dance with it, and as you do, you might start to feel a light, warm rain or a drizzle. It helps you to feel ever lighter and more comfortable. Within you, you feel the stirrings of joy, of movement. You begin to walk faster or even dance around the water. As you move faster, the water grows higher. You may begin to notice images within the water. Notice what they are and allow them to be. Know that this is the way in which the water communicates. Perhaps the water itself or the images are stirring something within you now. It might be that you feel a connection to a certain quality or strength. Water can represent cleansing, purity, love, beginning. It can also represent other qualities. Notice which ones are stirred within you as you continue to dance, walk, or even leap. Feel those qualities that matter to you, strengthening and enhancing within you. And being curious, you can question how you can further develop them within yourself. You may even ask this of the water spout. How can you enhance yourself? Perhaps you are looking for ways to nurture and support a new project. You might even place a small object representing what you'd like to grow or forgive into the water. As you do, feel your body opening up, your emotions flowing and releasing. Feel yourself more able to express in the moment. Feel yourself more connected inwardly and outwardly. Continue moving and notice any further symbols the water has to show you. Memories and emotions may come up. Accept them, let them come, appreciate them, and release them. As you move, you may notice parts of your body that are holding on to guilt. You can move closer to the water or even step within it to help begin to heal this or other issues. The water will not hurt you. You're safe. It's here to help you with the process. So if you feel called to do so, moving and through the spout, feeling it cleanse your issues and helping you to release whatever needs to be let go. And stepping away, but continuing to move with the water. And when you're ready, beginning to slow your pace and thanking the water. Thank it for its help now and throughout your life. And when you're ready, walking away from the water and bringing your awareness back to the room, knowing that you can return to the water whenever you wish. And you can do that meditation whenever you'd like to better connect with the element of water. You can also work with the tarot, as that's deeply connected with all of the elements, including water. So now we're ready and better prepared to do some scrying. So if you have a bowl in front of you, you might darken the room. So if you're sitting in front of your computer, you might turn the screen around or cover it up, or just turn off the screen temporarily. Don't turn off the computer. And you can turn down the lights if they're bright, and allow yourself to have the bowl in front of you, staring into the water. And let's see what we can see. So I'll give you a few more seconds to have the bowl prepared, if you don't yet have one. And it helps if it's a darker bowl, and if it doesn't have to be filled to the brim, of course. And if it's not a darker bowl, that's okay. We're simply trying to see whatever's important for us to see at this time, and we're using water to connect to our intuition. So having the bowl before us and looking down into the water, however bright or dark the room is, and noticing what comes to you. Something might appear in your mind, something might actually appear in the water. Pay attention to it, accept it. You might wish to record it in your journal, and I'll give you a few moments to gaze at the water and see what you see. Don't stress about seeing anything. You might wish to keep your eyes half lidded, half open, half closed. Be relaxed as you do this, and welcome in those objects that come to you. And when nothing else seems to be coming, you can begin the process of interpreting your symbols. And that's really a simple process that you can do on your own. And you can interpret the symbols, and I've posted the link to the scrying process in the forum. You can interpret the symbols really on your own. You don't need to go to the books or the websites. At first, journal what you've seen and see what you come up with for yourself. You might do this with a friend and compare notes. And in the chat room, Donna mentions she got 4 lunar eclipses and a solar eclipse, and she used a cup. So you could have used any object as long as it was darker and could contain your water, and that's a powerful seeing for her. And for myself, I saw a woman in, I want to say, 1840s costume, which I interpreted as opening more to this process for myself. I've done this many times before, but I haven't really talked about it, so to allow it to deepen for myself and become more familiar with this process. And I've kind of known that in the back of my mind anyway, and part of that is, I guess, not necessarily the journaling, but connecting with jotting down pictures and images around what I saw, so connecting with perhaps artwork around my own intuition. Susan mentions in the chat room that she got a large triangle filled with a rainbow. So you can begin interpreting something like that by asking, how does the rainbow make me feel? What do I think about when I think of rainbows? What do I think about when I see large triangles? And to connect with your feelings, to connect with your emotions, and to journal how you feel, to journal what it reminds you about. So what does a rainbow remind you of? So it reminds you, or me, might remind me about how I feel after a rainstorm, and remembering the rainbows that I've seen with people that I've been in relationship with, and how we enjoyed that. And down in the chat room mentions the message that she got was, that which has been hidden is now being revealed. So that's a pretty big revelation for the first time at Scrying, so congratulate yourself. And Dove and Butterfly mentioned she saw a little fox that turned into, I guess, a cougar and then a lady. So congratulations to everyone in the chat room for your great experiences, and that's very wonderful for your first time, so give it another shot and continue to welcome the use of water and see where you can go with it. Now we only have a short time until break, so I welcome you to call in with questions when we get back from break. I'll give you the number now and again later, which is 334-649-7204. So also can add Awakened Radio to Skype, or just join us in the chat room by coming to awakenedradio.net and click on the live chat tab. Also, you might like to become familiar with water, so notice how you react to it when you're in the shower, for instance. And although I don't talk about it, this technique in my book, you're welcome to read it. It's in Amazon. It's called Your Life Counts, and it walks you through a process of connecting with your own personal mythology, which water can be a part of, and that's on Amazon, Your Life Counts. And you can also find more about this. I've included the link to Scrying on my website, which is intuitionbyrob.net, and the link has been posted into the chat room and will be available in the forum as well, so I welcome your comments there. If you have any comments or concerns, let me know and I'll follow up in another show about this, perhaps providing more time to connect with your intuition and water, or perhaps we'll try another element and see what we can connect with. But when we get back from the break, we'll talk about another way to connect with water, and that's with tea. So you may or may not have tea leaves to work with, but if you do, you might wish to set your kettle to boil, and we'll do a tea leaf reading when we get back. So please feel free to join us and bring your questions or comments to the chat room, and I'll be happy to talk about how you can better connect with your intuition and water as a divinatory tool. Thanks for listening. We'll come back in a shortly.
Come and join our love, it's so right if you feel.
Thank you for listening to the Awakened Radio Network at awakenedradio.net, where we invite you to join us for the Prosperity Game. You can win prizes. You can also Discover the easy, quick, surefire ways to allow prosperity into your life experience. The Prosperity Games are ongoing on the Awakened Radio Network. Check out our front page, awakenedradio.net, for details on the Prosperity Game. You can win prizes by calling in, by being in our chat room. You can even win by leaving comments in our forum. We've got all manner of ways for you to join us to play the Prosperity Game, where we all win and live beautiful, wonderful, on-purpose lives. Join us for the Prosperity Games at awakenedradio.net.
Welcome. You are now tuned in to Your Unfolding Senses on Awakened Radio. I'm your host, Ragozzine. This show is all about opening to and listening to your full intuitive capabilities. I offer tips and techniques such as meditation, dream work, and more for relaxing and connecting to your intuition. I'm on the air on Thursday at 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. This show is brought to you by intuitionbyrob.net, helping you to connect to your own inner wisdom. Please enjoy the show and invite your friends. And we're back, and if you have yourself boiling water, congratulations. I'll give you some more time to get your tea, your loose tea out, and you can come to the chat room and tell me, hey, it's ready. But if it's not ready, that's okay. We'll put that off for a little bit. Another way that you can work with water is through steam. So instead of tea, you can boil your water and watch for steam patterns. So as you're boiling the water, and then you can pour it into a cup and place the cup near a mirror, near some glass, and watch what patterns emerge in the mirror or the glass. So gaze into the mirror or the glass, waiting for the steam to condense and drip down, and the drips may also form into letters or shapes, which can then, of course, be interpreted. So, really paying attention to yourself and how you feel about this, of course, but also to be in amazement as you're doing something so simple that it seems unbelievable. But if you allow yourself to be open to asking a question and then open up to the steam for the answer, then it's possible that you might get your answer on the first try. It's possible that it might take some work, but again, this is about opening to your heart, opening to your intuition, and letting the answer come to you. Stepping aside from the doubt, stepping aside from the fear, and recognizing the power of water and what that element means. In the Tarot, it symbolizes the unconscious, it symbolizes our emotions, symbolizes clearing and cleansing, and the separation between this world and all the other worlds, and it symbolizes our connection to ourselves. And of course, there's other things that it symbolizes. When you think about water, what's the primary thing that comes to your mind? Pay attention to that and see where that's reflected in the signs and symbols that are coming to you. Now, I don't know if you're ready yet, but purity, Susan says, in the chat room and in the meditation, I talked about how it represents cleansing and purity. So, allowing yourself to recognize that, allow yourself to recognize that in any kind of reading that you do. So when you see a reading, recognize the purity within the symbol that comes to you, or the letters, and work with it in that way. So maybe you'll get shapes or symbols. Most likely, initially, you might see some type of geometric form, and that's wonderful. Whatever you see is, don't judge yourself on what you see or what you allow yourself to see. Accept it and work with that imagery. Now, I'm assuming that you're ready with your tea by now. So all you need is some loose tea and some hot water in a cup. Hopefully your cup is white. And in the old days they'd say use a saucer and a teacup, but a lot of us don't have those. If you do, that's fine. If you just have a mug, that's fine too. You might also use something that has a slant to it, perhaps a rice bowl, perhaps some other kind of cereal bowl, for instance. Whatever you have that's white. And this doesn't take years and years of training, and it can be fun, and you can do it with friends and family. So choose your coffee or tea, and of course something that you like. Teas that are low in caffeine can be obviously an excellent choice, but use again what you like. And if you're brewing the tea first, then green teas, black teas brew faster than many different herbal teas, but don't let that dissuade you. I like to put a small amount of tea in a tea ball and then boil that so the water has the tea essence, and then reserve a small pinch of tea so that I can drink the tea without getting the leaves in my teeth or swallowing them. If you don't mind that, then you can just put the leaves right in your cup and then pour the water over them, and of course let that set for a while and steep, and that will help it to obviously flavor your tea. But if you have a tea ball, or if you have one of these newer tea, I don't know what you call them, tea kettles that have a built-in strainer where you put the tea and then you have the hot water and you can let that steep right there, that works as well. Anyway, you can do this multiple ways. Don't feel like the way that you choose is wrong. I like to reserve my tea, as I was saying, and then you can put it in after you've drank most of your water. But be that as it may, choose the method that you feel most comfortable. And of course, as you're drinking the tea, you'll want to be silent and accept that this can be a personal ritual, can be very calming, should be connecting inward as you're doing this. So any kind of conversation or music, is kind of distracting. So let that be as it is, and consider this to be a meditation. So sipping and enjoying your tea. And once your tea is cool enough, or finished actually, at some point there's going to be a small amount of water in your cup. So leave this and hand it off to the reader. But you can be the reader, of course. So then the reader will choose to either drain all of the water or swirl the cup around and let the leaves settle within the cup. And of course, if you reserved a pinch of your leaves, you'd of course put them in there before you handed it to the reader, and then have some time for stillness to let those tea leaves absorb the water and steep. Of course, they won't steep as long as if the water was hot or when you started, but that's okay. So the reader chooses to either drain the cup or first swish around the leaves, and you will obviously choose to have a question in mind as the reader is doing this. And the reader may drain the water into a separate container. That's where the saucer comes in handy, so you can dump the teacup over and drain it onto the saucer. And then the reader can assist you in reading the symbols. So this is, I'm going to use the word fluid, but this is a fluid process and dynamic, so you can use the tools that are appropriate for you. So a lot of people who do this like to use perhaps a cup that was handed down to them from their grandparents, or a favorite cup that has meaning for them that they always use for this process. So you can do that and find a tea that you really enjoy and be in the moment and truly enjoy the tea as you're sipping it. It's not just, oh, I'm going to drink this tea and I want to get through it. It's about enjoying the moment, being in the moment, and enjoying that tea. And there's obviously different ways to do this, but don't worry about the rules. This isn't about rules, it's about connecting to your intuition, and you're drinking the water and connecting to it. So when you're ready and the tea has been enjoyed and it's about finished, that's when you can connect with the symbols. So swish around your mug or cup, and if you choose to, you can drain the cup. And on my site, intuitionbyrob.net, I have an article up about what I'm talking about, and there's a picture of one of my cups, and I talk a little bit about how I saw a soldier and a horse in the cup, and that reminded me to accept and honor my own strength, to recognize my own power or finesse, and how it might be needed in any particular situation. And your symbols will mean something different to you. So try reading your own leaves and seeing how that works out for you. Now, if you have any comments about this and you tried it, you can leave the symbols that you saw in your tea water in the chat room. And Susan says she saw several things that jumped out, and ballet dancers and a rabbit and a rocket, and she says, cool, it feels like liftoff. So whatever you saw, take time to record that. Take time to record your initial impressions. So that includes how you felt about what you saw, and what it reminds you of, and how you feel now, and just record whatever thoughts and ideas come to mind about it, just as if you were doing a dream work and these symbols were in your dreams. And Susan mentioned everything was in flight, so that can be a sentence to work with in your journal. So write down perhaps what that means to you. What does it mean that everything was in flight? Does it feel light? Does it feel uplifting? Does it feel like you wish you could be in flight with those things? Does it feel like you're taking off? So to take whatever you write down and continue to work with it to see where it might take you to come to some type of conclusion. And don't be afraid to connect with rhymes or poems or other things that might seem silly at first, but just record them just as if you were doing a dream analysis and see where that takes you. And if you don't have any tea leaves handy, there's plenty of places, both online and local to you, that can help you to find the tea leaves that are showing up. And yes, question is, can you use coffee grounds? Yes, you can use coffee grounds, and some people do. So you can use coffee grounds. That's when I recommend first drinking the water and then putting the grounds in later, because they might dissolve first off and you probably don't want to taste those. So you can use those and see what happens. So you can use coffee grounds, you can use tea, whatever you're most comfortable with, whatever you have available. But I know for myself, there's plenty of little tea shops that make this process fun, and they have all different kinds of teas that you can experiment with, and different kinds of brewers. And I bought myself a small brewer that has the built-in tea ball, built-in strainer. So you put the tea in there, and then you pour the hot water in, and you can let it steep right there, and then pour yourself a cup of tea. And I guess you can also swirl sand or other things around and see. But the thing with sand is that's another element that we'll be working with as well. So that's earth. So I wouldn't recommend it at first, at least. But when you learn to use and connect with water, eventually sand might help you as well. But that's mixing elements. So unless you've been working with this for some time, it might not be the best thing, but try it out and see how it works. And Susan also mentioned you could use crumpled leaves, and you could use really anything, I guess. But the point here with the tea or the coffee is to enjoy it. So you're connecting with the actual element of the tea as you're drinking it. It's not just something that is hanging around. It's part of the ritual. This is a ritual that helps you to connect inwardly. So you can use other things, but ultimately it's about having a set ritual that you sit down, you relax, you're silent for a period of time, and you connect in to the water and to the quality of the tea. So that can be important. So there are certain teas that can be very healing, very rejuvenating, and you might use those as part of this process. So for instance, certain teas are good for skin, certain teas are good for stress. So if you feel stressed, you might pick one of those loose teas and use that, drinking it as a way to settle into stillness, to work with its medicinal uses, and to connect into the signs and symbols that you can find within the patterns that emerge when you're done. So there's multiple levels to this process. So when you and I'm not sure what Susan's saying, but I guess mixing elements. So it's sort of like bubbles and carbonated spring water. So yes, you are mixing elements, and it could be disturbing. For instance, if you open up the refrigerator and pull out a glass of water and you weren't expecting carbonated water, and that's what you get. Or you wanted carbonated water and you get flat water. So really do what's comfortable. There's nothing really wrong with however you do this exercise. Ultimately, it's about connecting with water, which is really a strong part of us, and seeing where it can take you, what it can bring you. So just have fun with it and see what you can learn. And again, I have posted the link to the article in the chat room. It'll be in the forum, and it's at my site, intuitionbyrob.net. Anyway, so you can find it there very easily. Now, the symbols, as I've been talking about this evening, there's, of course, you can find a book about symbols, Dream Dictionary, but for tea leaf reading, there's not necessarily many good books, but really it's about symbols and not necessarily tea leaf reading. So you may need to create your own. That's what I always recommend. So what does that blotch that looks like a man mean to you in your tea leaves? So it might remind you of your boss. So go with that this time and ask something like, why do I see my boss on my time off, for instance? And then, what would you like to say to him, for instance? So then, have a conversation with that little tea leaf boss. Talk with him. Journal the results. And notice how you feel. Maybe you'll uncover something that you never thought about before, about him, or about your work, or just about the whole process of using your time to spend doing things for him. Just think about it. And of course you can work with crystals as you do this. Some of them are safe to work with in water, some of them are not. So to find ones that are, and maybe combine the process. And Donna mentions that she has a wonderful seer stone, so you might use a stone that's all about intuition, perhaps use it with you or put it in the tea, but make sure, of course, that the water isn't going to harm the crystal and that it's safe for you in the water. So be very, very, very careful. Very, very. And of course, if you've never heard about Dr. Emoto, he's done lots of interesting research around photographing water crystals, especially crystals around love and hate. And you just look at the crystals that he's photographed, and the ones that represent love are beautiful and multi-patterned, and the ones that aren't are kind of murky and grayish looking and depressing. And that's just interesting to realize that, again, our bodies are mostly water. So what are you saying to yourself? That's the thing with this divination. Are you telling yourself that what you want is impossible, and then asking the question about how you might achieve what you told yourself is impossible? So your body is holding the impossibility within it. It's tuning to that. So it's really about letting go of the shoulds and the can'ts and the impossibles and connecting with what is possible. And of course, you've likely seen What the Bleep Do We Know, but if you haven't, go see that. It's exactly what I'm talking about here. So come back and talk about that later. That's a good one to watch, but there's also different films that Dr. Emoto has done himself, and he also does talks locally and throughout the world. And I went to one that he did, and he's a very comical man, so he makes the information fun, lighthearted, and very interesting. And you might also connect with water by watching various movies. One of the ones that I was thinking about that I started watching again this week is called Open Water, and it's about fear and connection and communication and our attachment to to our own personal rituals. So essentially it's about a man and a woman who go on a scuba excursion but get left behind because the air tanks were miscounted. And then we have an experience of what it's like to be left behind, what it's like to not have proper communication in our lives, and to see the various elements of water and how it can be both cleansing and healing and also confusing. So find ways to connect with water in your life and try working with some of these tools that I talked about tonight in your life. Try brewing some tea with friends, try doing a scrying exercise, and I welcome comments at my site, intuitionbyrob.net, and you can comment right on the 2 articles that I have here, and there'll be video coming soon about this, so I'll walk you through the steps in the video. But intuitionbyrob.net, and those articles are right there. In the meantime, we have Thrive Magazine here at Awaken Radio, and if you haven't contributed yet, we're accepting articles, art, and poetry for the November issue. November 10th is the deadline, I believe. And if anything, if it's well-being or spiritually based, you can come and contact Donna here with your idea and get it contributed to the magazine. And we're always looking for new contributions, and we'll link back to your site and provide a picture and a bio of you. So feel free to do that. We also have Success 2014 Day, where we have leaders come and speak about themselves, about their work, and you can get to that by coming to Awaken Radio and clicking on the Success 2014 tab, and that talks all about what it's like to come and talk as a leader and a healer here at Awakened Radio. And you can pick your times. I think they're all open right now. We just put this up. The date will be December 1st, 2013. So find a slot that's right for you. Email Donna and start talking with her about what you have to offer the listeners, what you have to offer everyone. And this isn't an infomercial. It's about connecting with the listeners, and that way they know what you do and they build a relationship with you. So that's an opportunity to do that. Also, feel free to come to awakenradio.net and click on the donate buttons at the top of all the screens. We're here at no cost to you, so whatever you have in your heart to give to keep the station running, we gladly accept. And could be $1, could be $2, whatever you're available to give, that's okay. We're not asking for your grocery money. We're just asking for a donation to help the station grow and evolve along with you. And we love providing you helpful information on healing and growing. So thanks for listening today. Stay tuned next week for another edition of Your Unfolding Senses, same time, 10 p.m. Eastern. And I look forward to hearing from you on my website and on Twitter and Facebook. You can find those links on my website as well. So please do follow me on Twitter and Facebook. And remember my book, Your Life Counts, on Amazon. It's a Kindle book, and it talks about really connecting with your own inner mystery, connecting with your own inner myths, just as you do when you're connecting with the signs and symbols that you see in these exercises we talked about today. So thanks for tuning in. I look forward to connecting with you on the internet. And next week too.
You won't catch us sleeping through the fight at night. We're all eyes open, showing our inside and light so bright. We are awakened. Come and join our love, it's so right. If you could feel what we feel now, you'd be a leader filled with might. Cause we're awakened. You won't catch us sleeping through the fight at night. We're all eyes open, showing our inside and light so bright. We